Is it recording? Nope, not yet. There it is. It's recording. Yay! Okay, so today's lesson really is operations on functions. So this whole chapter 4 is all about functions. What is a function? We talked about that briefly. We know that to be a function, every x has exactly one y, right? You can't buy one shirt for two different prices, right? That's impossible. So these are both two different functions. You've got f of x and g of x, right? And so when I say operations, we're just going to add them. Now, this is a weird way to write it, but it really means f plus g. So I'm just going to add these two. So we're just going to take, okay, x plus 1 plus x squared minus 1, right? That's all I'm going to do. So we've done this before. So like terms, so I get an answer of x squared plus x, and then the ones cancel. There's my answer. Boom. Okay, number 2, f minus g just means to subtract them, so it really just means take f, x plus 1, and subtract g, which is my x squared minus 1. I have to be careful of negatives because I always make mistakes, so I have showed you this before. I just bring through the negative, right? So what I do is I bring through the negative so I don't make any dumb mistakes. See how I bring through the negative? So I would have a negative x squared, positive x, and then a positive 2. Okay? Pretty easy so far? So this is the best I can do on my computer when I type, but this means multiply. That's a star, so it's like times. It's not a very good time. Sometimes they use a dot. We've got to be careful because we're going to see something else. So it just means multiply, so I'm just going to take my x plus 1 times my x squared minus 1, and I'm just going to multiply, right? I'm going to get an x cubed minus 1x plus a 1x squared minus 1, right? And that's basically the answer. You know, I could put it in order. It might be better to put it in descending order, but you don't have to. Same answer, okay? How's that? Okay, thumbs up? Right, I mean, this stuff we've been doing since Algebra 1, probably. Okay, so 3 just says divide. That's the divide sign, so take f, which is my x plus 1, and divide it by my g, which is my x squared minus 1. Now, can I do more with this problem? Anybody see anything? Ryder, what do you see? Anybody see anything right here? Yeah! That's what Ryder meant. Thanks, Jade. X plus 1, x minus 1. That's good. That's good. That was a good idea, Jade. You guys agree with what Jade said? Why is that? Why was Jade's idea such a good idea? What do you see now? Cancel, cancel, right? And so we'd have an answer of 1 over x minus 1, okay? And if I ask for restrictions on x, I would say on this one, x better not be 1 and x better not be negative 1 because it would make me divide by 0, right? Siri, what is 0 divided by 0?
Imagine that you have 0 cookies and you split them evenly among 0 friends. How many cookies does each person get?
Right?
See, it doesn't make sense. And Cookie Monster is sad that there are no cookies.
Right?
And your friends are sad because they don't exist. Oh wow, this escalated quickly.
So, right, don't divide by 0, okay? Anyway, now number 2 and number 3. So we don't have an equation, and oftentimes you look like the stock market or businesses, and they like graphics, so there's no equation. So you can't plug in 2, right? You can't plug in 2 and get an answer. But what you can do is this. This is an x value, of 2. So right here is 2, okay? The answer is the corresponding y value, so the answer is 3. Right? Because I have a point at 2, 3. Agree with that? It's that easy. Okay. G of 2. Well, here's my G graph, right? So let's find 2 on the graph. Here's my 2. And the answer is the corresponding y value. I've got a point at 2, -1 equals -1. Isn't that easy? A lot of kids miss this, but it's easy, okay? Now, this one's a little bit different. It says, find x if f, that's my f graph, if f of x equals 0, okay? So if x equals 0, on this graph, does it ever equal 0? No, so there's no solution. I gotta fix this. I want to have an answer on that one someday. I better fix that one, okay? Okay. Yeah, I need to probably do something like this someday. Change it to that so I'd have an answer of 1, 2, 3. Go ahead and do this. Let's have a better answer. 1, 2, 3, 4. How about at -4? I like that better. You guys like that better so we have an answer? Yeah. Okay, now. Well, because it never crosses the x-axis, so it never has a height of 0, right? Okay, now this one we have. Because we know what f of 2 is, right? F of 2 is 3 plus g of 2 we know is -1, so the answer is 2, okay? All right, now how do we graph these two? So if we're going to add these, the way we add them is we just simply lay one on top of the other in a sense and add their heights. We're going to add their heights, okay? So let's start right here at x equals 0. Okay, now this will take a while to explain. I want you to watch my hands, okay? I want to add. So at 0, the height of this one is 1, and what's the height of this one? So if we'll add a 1 plus a -1, I'd have a... So at 0, I'd have a 0, okay? Let's go to 1. Let's go to 1, okay? Everybody watching? What's the height at 1 of the F graph? 2, and what's the height of the G graph? So what is 2 plus -1? So at 1, I'd have a height of 1. Are you seeing what I'm doing? So we already know what 2. We did 2s. We already got that one. We know that's 2, right? We did that. We got the height of 2, and we got that to be 2. Then if we go to 3, what's the height of the F graph? Looks like 2.5, doesn't it? 2.5. And what's the height of the G graph? So it'd be about 2.5, right? And then finally at 1, 2, 3, 4, what's the height of the F graph? What's the height of the F graph? 2, isn't it? 2, and what's the height of the G graph? So 2 plus 1 is 3. Now we can also go negative, right? At -1, what's the height of the F graph? What's the height of the G graph? So 1 plus 0 is a 1. Go to -2. What's the height of the F graph? What's the height of the 1, and what's the height of the G graph? -1. So 1 and a -1 makes a 0, right? And finally, let's do, well, actually, we can go all the way. We can go to a -3. We'll just go to -3. What's the height of the G graph? -2. What's the height of the F graph? So 1 and -2 makes a -1. Okay, so here's what the two graphs would look like if you were to lay them on top of each other and graph their heights, okay? So all I'm doing is adding y values. That's all I did. Is I added y values all along both graphs, and I add y values, okay? Okay, turn the page. All right, now, composite functions. So Some people call this fog, and some people call this goth. What the heck does that mean? Well, it means this. You're going to put, for instance, G into F. So you're going to put G of X into F of X. Or you're going to put F of X into G of X, okay? And this little open symbol means the same thing. G goes into F, and F goes into G, okay? It's just this weird symbols. What it really means is you're going to put you're going to put the entire equation. You can put the entire equation into the other. So let's take a look at example 3, and I'll go slowly, okay? So in the first one, what we want to do is put G into F, okay? So put G into F. Put G of X into F, okay? So the way we do it is we're going to take G of X, which is this one, right? Take G of X, and we're going to put it into F. So when we put it, we got to put it into its X. Okay, so I'm going to take G of X. That's that one. No matter what it is, put the entire thing, put the entire thing into its X. So it's going to look like this. Okay, it's going to look like.
So it's substitution, basically.
Yes, it is substitution. Yes, so it's going to be 1 over x squared, right? 1 into x squared, but what's going to go in? My square root of x minus 2. Okay, I don't want this to be hard for you. I want you to see this, okay? So I'm going to take my equation, all of g, and I'm going to put it into x, 4x. Okay, so it's a 1 over x squared, but not 1 over x squared anymore. Like you said, it's substitution, isn't it, Malachi? So my x minus 2 goes in for x, and I get this answer. I can simplify this one a little bit, right? Because this is square and square root, so I could get an x, 1 over x minus 2, okay? These are hard until you get it. And once you get it, you're like, this is easy, okay? Now, we're going to do just the opposite. We're going to take f of x and put it into g, okay? Okay, so I'm going to take and put f of x equation. That's 1 over x squared, okay? I'm going to put it into g. I'm going to substitute the entire equation, right? So I'm going to rewrite this as a square root, because that's my g of x. Okay, so instead of writing x right here, I'm going to write my 1 over x. 1 over x squared. Okay, and that doesn't simplify very much. I mean, we could, but I'm not going to go there. Not today. I'm just going to leave it as a 1 over x squared minus 2, okay? Someday we'll simplify that more, okay? For right today, we're going to leave that, okay? How am I doing?
Good.
Okay. Now, this says, you ready? I'll say it. Everybody listening? Put 6 into G, get an answer, and put it into F. I'll say it again. Put 6 into G, get an answer, and put that into F. So put 6, let me erase all this. Okay. So I'm going to take 6, I'm going to put it into G, okay? Yeah, 4, totally. And then the square root of 4 is 2. Cameron, they put that there, okay? So you're ahead of me, right? Yeah. So here's what Cameron's saying. So you put the 6 into there, so we're going to have a square root. So g of 6 is equal to, put the 2 there, we're going to have a 6 minus 2, right? And that's going to be a square root of 4, which is 2, right? Now we're going to take our 2 and put that into F, right? Because g of 6 is 2. G of 6 is 2, right? So now take the 2 and put it into F. Okay, so I'm just going to take that, put in my f function, so I'll put that in my f function right up there. So I'm going to rewrite this as a 1 over 2 squared, or 1/4. Okay, thumbs up on that. Okay. All right, so you guys try this one real quick on your own. See what it says. Okay, just try it on your own. If you can't get it, I'll help you, I promise. Did you get it, Cameron? Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you, the kids that get it right off the bat, they're like, God, this is easy, right? And honestly, if you're struggling with this, you're not alone. I've found, after doing this for umpteen million years, half the kids struggle on this, half the kids just get it right away. Who knows why? It's just the way it is. So plug 1 into f, right? So the 1 goes into the f. So the 1 goes into the f. So I'm going to have a f of 1 is 1 over 1 squared, right? So we'll plug the 1 into f, and that gives me 1 over 1, 1 over 1, which is 1. Agree with 1? So now that, I'm going to take the 1 and plug it into g. So I'm going to take the g of 1. So I plug the 1 into here. I'll get the square root of 1 minus 2. So now I'm going to get g of f of 1 is equal to, square root of negative 1, and I'm just going to call that I. You okay with I? You okay with that answer? Okay, that's all I have, and we got lots of time to get the assignment done.